Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to the final part of deployment of our application into cloud. In this part, we will finally deploy our Java-based application to the provisioned EC2 instance. If you have not watched the previous part of the series, please go ahead and watch that, where we have deployed our entire network and compute infrastructure with Terraform. I will give the link in the description box below. So as I was saying, we will deploy one Spring Boot application to our EC2 instance. We will do the application provisioning from scratch from spring.io. I hope you know this website. We will generate one boilerplate template from Spring Boot and do some modifications from our end. We will then deploy the generated jar to AWS. I hope this part will be informative for you and you will enjoy this video. If you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. I will try to make some recommended video from you guys if you have any. So sit tight and enjoy. So as I said, in this part, we will deploy one Java-based Spring Boot application to our spin-up EC2 instance. So if you remember from my previous video, what we have done there is that we have installed one EC2 instance, or we have spin up one EC2 instance to our provisioned infrastructure. So if you have not watched that video, please watch the second part of this series. So on that series, we have spin up this EC2 instance into our provisioned infrastructure or the entire network infrastructure, and we have logged into the EC2 instance with our generated key pair. So I'm not going to cover that again in this part. So in this part, I'm going to cover what I'm going to cover. We will deploy one Spring Boot application to our EC2 instance. So this is the final part, and this is where we will actually have a taste of our own made up infrastructure, that how it works in cloud, and we will deploy this application to cloud for the first time. Now, how we are going to do it? So first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to take one Spring Boot application and compile it with Maven. So we will download the Spring Boot application from spring.io, that is the centralized Spring framework website. From there, we will download one framework, and for that we will install it with Maven, or we will compile the code with Maven, and this will generate a jar file. That jar file we will upload in S3 bucket. Then from that S3 bucket, we will copy the jar file to our EC2 instance, and then we will install the application there in our EC2 instance. And we have to open up one security port to have these users log in, or to have these users access this application to EC2 instance. So if you remember from our networking infrastructure or our compute infrastructure provisioning, we have given the security group as 80 and port 22 to be open for my IP address. Right now, we need another IP address, that is 8080. So port 80 and port 8080 is not same. So we have to open port 8080 as well to access this EC2 application, or access this website from EC2 application for the user. That also I will show you how to do that. So let's go and check out the code, or create a project from Spring Initializer. So I have opened up the spring.io website. This is the centralized Spring framework website where you can learn Spring, how it works. There are lots of projects are there: Spring Boot project, Spring Data, what is Spring Data, Spring Data JPA, everything is there. Overall Spring framework, you can learn about that. But this is not the main idea that we are going to do here. What we are going to do, we are going to click on the Spring Initializers. Under development tool, we have the Spring Initializer. So the Spring Initializer initializes one project using the tool that we will mention here. So how it works, let's see. So first of all, we need one Maven project, because I will compile my project with Maven. You can choose Gradle as well, but I will choose for my project is Maven. And the language that I will use is Java. Then I have to choose the Spring Boot version that I am going to use. So I will use Spring Boot version 3.06. This is I will use. And then the group part, I have to use the project metadata. I have to provide some information here, like the package information, the artifact information, the name, whatever it is, the description of the project, and the package name. Right now, I am not going to change anything about it. And the packaging is jar. So the recommended Java version they are saying is to use Java 17. So I will not change it. So Java 17 is fine. Now the next part is I can use this dependency, this button here to add some dependency. So if I click on this dependency, so couple of dependencies I can choose here, and it will be automatically added to my pom.xml. You know, if you have worked with Spring, pom.xml is the main engine of your application. I used to say like that because you can install lots of things there. You can have the dependencies installed there. You can entirely control your project from there. If you have done any misconfiguration in pom.xml, your application will not work, just like a car engine. So first of all, what we are going to check here, what we are going to add some dependency. So if you see, a couple of dependencies are ported here that we can take a suggestion. So maybe if we take web, if we type in web, that Spring Web will come. So maybe I will take this one, then add another dependency, maybe security. That's what it is asking. So I will check Spring Security, then another dependency, maybe DevTools, then Spring Data JPA. Maybe I will search here with REST, this one. And I think that's it. I don't need any other dependencies. So that's it. So Spring Web Security, DevTools, JPA, REST repositories, that's it. So this is how we have these dependencies already provided by this Spring framework or this website, and we don't have to write it down in the pom.xml, or we don't have to add the dependencies manually in our project. That's it. What we are going to do, we have to generate this project. So the project has been generated, and we will download this project. So we will download this project in our local. So I will save this project in my local now. So after I downloaded the project, the download is done. After I downloaded the project, I will extract the zip file and open that with my IDE. So if you see, this is the project that is generated and downloaded. So what I will do, I will open this one. So this is my project. This is my demo project of Spring. So I will open this project now with my IDE. So you see, I have opened up this project, this demo project with my IDE. I am using IntelliJ IDEA as my IDE, and this is my project. And under demo, I can see the dependencies that has been there. It is there like data JPA, data REST, Spring Security, Web, that DevTools, Starter. This we have added, and it is added here as a dependency. And the plugins also it has added, and a couple of life cycles is there. So this is how you can check that under Maven, or you can directly open the pom.xml and check the dependencies. So here are all the dependencies: data JPA, data REST, starter security, everything is there. Every dependency is added in this project. So right now, if we compile the project, what will happen? So let's do this. I don't want test to be generated. So test is not needed. So what I will do, I will clean, compile and install. So let's see what happens. So we see that the build is successful, and under the build, we can see that it has generated one target folder. Here is the target folder, and it generated the jar file that we need. So currently in this jar file, we don't have anything. We only have the class file that is there already from the generated project. So we didn't write anything. So if we run this jar file, it will install, obviously the project, it will install, but nothing will happen. We cannot see anything. So we have to provide some code there. So my idea is to provide some code, is to give it some REST controller. So I will create couple of REST controller, or one REST controller, and that REST controller I will use to access it from my local first. Then I will deploy this project into EC2 and use the same REST controller to access it from the EC2 instance. So first of all, how to create the REST controller? So to create a controller, I need to create a package first. So I will create a package here. So I will name it as my controller package, and it has created one controller package. And then I will create a Java file. So I will create a Java class, and the name should be maybe demo controller. This is fine. So my controller is created, and the name of the controller is demo controller. So in Spring, we have to tell them that this is my controller. Otherwise, Spring don't know if this is the controller or not. So we have to mention that this is my controller. We have to let our project know that this is my controller. So how to do that? So to do that, we have one annotation in Spring. So the annotation is, here is the annotation called REST controller. So this is the controller. So this is how we say that this is a controller. So controller is the where we want our code to be first hit when we enter the localhost port 8080, and after that we want our code to come here. So this is why the controller is needed. So this is how we say that this is my entry point of the project. This is how we have to identify the REST controller, and this is fine. So the REST controller is fine. Now I want my project not only be accessed through one single root path. I want to mention one path by where, by how the controller will be invoked. So for that we need to give one request mapping. So whenever user will give a request like slash Java or slash hello or slash anything we want that URL to be redirected here. So for that we need one URL. So for that the annotation is request mapping, and we will give it as, so it asks me that if I can import the class. Yes, I can. You can go ahead and import the class, and for that I will use Java. So whenever we will invoke localhost port 8080 then slash Java, it should come here. So this is why the request mapping comes into picture. Now I have to define couple of methods here. And so first of all, I will define public or not maybe string, public string, maybe hello, and I will return one string from here. So this is and this is a string, so we have to return something. So I will return hello from Java method. So this is how we return it, and then I will choose another method. So I will define another method, and maybe the method name is entry, maybe entry point. Yeah, that's a good name. Okay, and this is returning hello from Spring Boot project. So this is the entry point. So whenever user will hit Java, they will be able to see this string. But apart from that, I will give another request mapping here at the rate get mapping, and I will print it as hello. So whenever user will give, like, this is again saying that we can import the classes. So I will say yes, import the class. So whenever user will give slash Java, it will show this string, and after Java, if they give slash hello as well, then they will be able to see this string. So this is a simple REST controller that we have used, and we will access now, where we will install this, compile this project totally, and then install that and access that website from our local. So let's first compile the project again. So to compile that, we can go again in the Maven section and just click the play button here. It will be compiled. My jar will be again generated, this jar. So build success, the jar is generated. Now if we run our demo application, run demo application.main, so this will run the main application. for me. So if I go to demo application.java, this will come in the main method here. So this is how Spring Boot works. So it has a main method where the application will load. And if you don't want to enable this data source auto configuration classes, you can give this annotation here: exclude data source auto configuration classes. So if you face any kind of error with data source URL, you can exclude it with this one if you are not using any database. Currently we are not using any database, that's why I have given this exclusion here. Now if we see that our application is running, my application is running in port 8080 and it has generated password. So as we have used Spring Security, so it has generated this password and the default username is user. So we will go to the localhost and check if this is working. So I have opened up one browser, and in this browser I will type in localhost port 8080/Java. So this is what I'm getting, hello from Spring Boot project. So if I come here, I see that hello from Spring Boot project, it has a mapping called Java. So whenever the Java, we will call this URL Java. So this get mapping will return hello from Spring Boot project. And now if I type in /java/hello, let's see what happens. /java/hello. And I see that hello from Java method. So this is what we have given, hello from Java method. So we see that our application is currently running on localhost. Now we want this application to be deployed into cloud. So how can we do that? So to do that, we have this jar file already created, right? We need to upload this jar file to our S3 bucket. So we will go ahead and upload this jar file into our S3 bucket. So first of all, we have to create one S3 bucket for that. So let's create one S3 bucket, and maybe I will name it as jar holder, any random value, and let's see if this is available. So my bucket is available, so I have created the bucket, and I will open the bucket and then upload the jar file here. So if I click on add files, then under demo we have target. So this is the jar file that we need. So demo, this jar, snapshot.jar. So we have not changed the jar file name. So this is what it is. So I will upload the jar file now. So this is a 23 MB file. This is fine. So I will upload it. So it takes a couple of seconds to upload that. Right now it is uploading. It's fine. Now the upload is completed. Now we see that the jar file is generated, and this is the S3 URI for the jar file. Why I see that? Because this is needed in my next step. So on the second hand, we have our EC2 instance, right? So in the EC2 instance, we see that currently we have already logged into our instance. So if I come here in my terminal, we see that we have already logged into the instance, and if I do ls, I can see no hub.out. So I will clear the screen again. Sorry, clear the screen, and I'm still inside my EC2 instance. And if I do AWS S3 ls, so what it will return? It should return one permission denied. See, unable to locate credentials. That means it is permission denied. That my AWS, this EC2 instance does not have permission to see the S3 buckets over there. So we have to change the profile or the role of the S3 AWS EC2 instance. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to create one instance profile and attach it to our EC2 instance. So we go to actions, security, and modify IAM role. We see that we have to create one IAM role. So we go here, create an IAM role. Create role, AWS service. I will create this role for EC2 instance. Next, and I need S3 access. So for S3, I will not give full access. The read-only access is sufficient for me. So I will click on next, and the role name is EC2-role. This is fine. And I will create the role. So the role is being created. So once the role is created, I will come back to my EC2 instance here, and I will refresh this one, and I see the EC2 role is there. and I will update the IAM role now. So it takes actually some time to provision this instance profile role. That's why it is getting one kind of error here, because the ARN, it still does not know what ARN I am giving. So we have to wait for some time. Now again I came back after a couple of seconds. Maybe I try to update now. Yeah, the updation works. So it takes for IAM every time, it takes some time. So anyway, no worries. So right now my EC2 instance having the credentials, if I see here, the IAM role, EC2 role, which has read-only access for S3. So let's see, let's test it. I will use the same command and give ls, and right now I can see my S3 buckets are listed here. Great. Now what I need this S3 bucket content, the jar file, to be copied to my locally to EC2 instance. So for that we have a command called AWS S3 CP. What we need is the S3 URI that I have mentioned before. So this URI. So this is the URI. So I am saying, hey AWS, from S3 copy this jar file to my local directory. So dot means local working directory. So I will hit enter. As it has read-only access, it found the jar file and it copied it to my EC2 instance. So if I do ls, I see the jar file is there. Now, to install this jar file, we need Java. But if we type in Java, the Java command not found. So we need to install Java in this EC2 instance, because this is a boilerplate EC2 instance. We don't have anything inside this EC2 instance. We can give the EC2 instance user data, use some script while provisioning the EC2 instance, but we did not give that, remember, in our previous video. So this is why it is saying Java not found. So we will clear the screen and install Java in this instance. So if you remember, we have used Java 17, and for how to install Java 17 in Amazon Linux 2, there is a documentation provided here. I will also give the link there. So you can just take the first command here, copy it and paste it here. So this is plain and simple Java installation. So if I give it here, so we see that it is getting the packages, everything. It is trying to get all the dependencies, asking me for permission. I will say yes, why not. Then it is deploying everything. So it takes some time as well. So let's wait for that this installation to be completed. Fine, my Java installation is completed. Now if I again clear the screen and do Java, now I can see the Java commands are getting populated. Fine. Now if I do ls, so this is my jar that we wanted to install. So what the command is, Java jar and this one. So I'm saying, okay, I think I have made one mistake. So I'm saying that, hey Java, I have a jar that you need to install. So I'm saying that Java minus jar, this is the jar file that we need to install in this Linux machine. So it is trying to install it now, and we see that it is saying that start a demo application in this seconds, and my application is running, and it has also generated the password. Now please look into this one. It has generated, or it has installed the application in port 8080. Now if I go to my EC2 instance, this is my EC2 instance, and if I go to security of the instance, right now we see that port 8080 is not open. This port 80 is different. This is not the application port. This is HTTP port. So we have to open port 8080 so that we can access the application. So for that, we are going to inbound rule for the security group, and we edit the inbound rule. And right now what we are going to do, we are going to add a rule. So for that, we will type in 8080. We need 8080 port to be open, and the source will be my IP. So it will take my IP, and port 8080 will be open only for my IP, and I will save the rules. So right now, port 8080 is open only for my IP. Now if everything works well, I should be able to access this application with the EC2 URL that is provided here. Where is the EC2 URL? Now if I go back to EC2 instances and details, I will be able to open the address, this one. So if I click on open address, so it takes huge amount of time. Rather than, what I will do, I will copy this one. I will copy this and I will paste it here. Then port is 8080 and /Java. So this is my controller, right? So if I hit enter now, so I see the login page and I will put my credentials user and I will take the password from here that is generated for my EC2 instance. This is the password. I will copy it and I will paste it here and I will sign in. Never. So this is what it is saying, that hello from Spring Boot project, and this project is running on EC2 instance. Moreover, if I give after Java this URL path hello, it will again say that hello from Java method. So that means our REST controller or our Spring Boot application is installed currently in EC2 instance, and we are able to access the application from our URL. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this is the entire series is for how to install an EC2 instance, how to install our Spring Boot application to our EC2 instance. So to summarize what we have done in this entire series is that first of all we have provisioned an infrastructure as code to our entire network infrastructure. Then in the second part we have provisioned our compute infrastructure. We have created the EC2 instance from scratch. Then on this part we have installed a Spring Boot application to our EC2 instance, which is accessible now over the web. So our application is live. Any URL we give here is that so sorry, I think I have made one slash there. So any URL that we are giving, the controller mapping that we are giving, it is accessible over the internet. So any user who have this URL, or if you have any user who uses this application, give them the URL and they can able to access the application. You can also do some changes for the application, upload the jar file and install it in the EC2 instance, and your EC2 instance is now a server that is holding your application, and application is hosted in the cloud. This is our first application that is hosted in the cloud, and this is how one Java based application as well can be hosted in the cloud with a very minimal effort. Now please do remember, we are accessing this EC2 instance, or we are accessing this application directly over internet via this public IP address that is assigned to this EC2 instance. This is not recommended. What we can do, we can move this EC2 instance directly to our application, to our private subnet, and from there we can access the EC2 instance, or we can provision one application load balancer in front of our EC2 instance, and from that application load balancer we can access our application, which is more secure. Because if you give this public IP address directly, if you try to access this public IP address directly over the internet, many things can happen, many attacks can happen, and which is really not secure. If you go to this website now, we can see that it is not secure. It is not at all a HTTPS protocol. It's kind of HTTP protocol that we are accessing. But if you do it with application load balancer, install one certificate, do it, route your traffic with Route 53, that is more secured way of having an application to be placed into cloud. So please remember, cloud is fine. Cloud is a very fancy term that we are using. We are hosting our application to cloud, but remember, the security part needs to be you need to be provision your own security. So this works in a shared responsibility model. So this is what I wanted to share in this entire series. How can we host one simple Java based web application into cloud and provision that with an EC2 instance. Please let me know how you like it. If you are new to this channel, kindly like, share and subscribe to the channel. Give your comments, your valuable thoughts on the comment section, how we can improve this channel more. How do you like, or what content do you like more, so that I can make the video out of it. I will be back with another exciting video. Till then, goodbye, take care.